Hello, Billy the Artist here, back with another how to draw video, and today we're doing J. Morton. We're doing the fourth of the 5 DS from SAS Who Dares Wins. We've already done Jason Carl Fox, we have done Foxy, we have also done Ollie Ollerton, and we've done Mark Billy Billingham. So these three are already done. They're up in the how to draw playlist and how to draw portraits playlist. Do please like and subscribe for new videos that will be coming soon, because we also have on the other playlist as well, we do have the Harry Potter characters playlist, and we will be doing more. We have done Harry a long time ago. We've also got Snape and Malfoy and all the badges and loads of others. We did recently do Dumbledore, but we are going to be doing Voldemort next when we've finished these SAS Who Dares Wins fellas. Like I say, we're doing J. Morton today, then we've got Ant Middleton to do afterwards, and so we shall just move these guys off very carefully because they are rather precious. And now we're going to do a quick intro onto this one. Now, on the previous ones we used the smaller grid, but I'm going back to the 2 centimeter grid because this is a kind of upper half body portrait of Jay, and he's got his through dark clothing on with a hat, and he's also got his arms folded. Now again, this 2 centimeter grid, and if you check the link in the banner now, there's a link in the cards and in the description to a video that will show you me actually putting this grid down. Now I put these techniques down so you guys get the basics and learn how to draw as easily as you possibly can, and I break down what people think are very, very complex things to draw: people, faces, bodies, whatever it may well be, into shapes. And again, check out How to Draw Anything Part 1. And I do say in that, and there's even a comment that I answered on YouTube the other day where it said, you know, oh, a bird, a bee, a flea, a tree, a horse, a house, or anything else. It's like, yes, you can draw literally anything by breaking it down into shapes. So again, check out the link in the cards for How to Draw Anything Part 1. That was put up, I actually found out, I thought it was about 5 years ago. It's over 6 years ago now, and it has helped lots of people to break drawing down into simple shapes. So again, there is the video on actually laying down this 2 centimeter grid. Now here we have the center line. This is where we kind of start. So I've kept that there. That's at 105 millimeters. If you check the banner now, the dimensions for everything, this piece of paper is A4, it's 210 across, 297 millimeters down the side. At 105 millimeters is our center line, and then I've gone 2 centimeters out from each way, which is why we've got this kind of 5 centimeter border. We don't get the exact halfway line like we did on the previous 3. It's just a little bit above, but this allows us to draw the shapes on. It gives us good reference points to actually build up the drawing. Now I draw these lines on darker. I put these on with a 2B pencil so that you can see them, but if you use something like a 2H or a HB and press on very lightly, or even lighter than a 2H, 4H or 6H, you will get very, very faint lines that you can then remove easily. But I put these on so that you can see them. Anyway, we are now going to draw J. Morton, but I am going to bring over this blank piece of paper, and we're going to do, you're getting a twofer on J, and I'm coming straight in with a marker pen. And so what we want is a kind of triangle at the top with a curve on at the end, a bit like a kind of teardrop, little roll for the nose. There's one eye, a little dot for another eye on the side, and a smile. And we're going to give him some whiskers. Now again, little rectangle on the top, hat, and a little semicircle. Now that's a kind of D there. And that's his little Benny hat on the top there. Now, again, because this is J. Morton, he's a bit more kind of muscly. But we've got little V shapes there for his hands, and then we're going to just bring the line down. Then again, just nice shapes. So just imagine there's you can draw right, but you can just see I'm just making shapes very, very quickly. And then what we want is a rectangle at the bottom, and then that goes up there. There's a heel, and then a curve, the front of a heel there. Line for the edge of his t-shirt, his big muscles. And then again, we've got a simple shape for his wrist coming down. Then you've got the hand, and you've got the claws there. Now, just going to draw that around there on the side. So as we've got a kind of band, so we want the bottom of his t-shirt there, just sticking underneath. Let's just draw his six-pack through his t-shirt as well, because it's a absolutely skin-tight t-shirt. Little bit of shadow underneath. I'm going to get a slightly thicker marker pen, and we're going to fill in this t-shirt very quickly, and just accentuating the lines around his muscles. Filling that on down on his arm and his shoulder. And now, just need to fill this in a little bit quickly. I say you get a two-fit. This is just a quick one. So again, you just have some fun sometimes with some drawing. Just fill in his hat. And then I'm just going to get a thin fine liner. There we've got on his armband his little number 4. I'm just doing some quick little cross-hatching lines. Again, this is just a little bit of fun, because Jay in the SAS Who Dares Wins program was the mole. So just put that black in on his boots. And then just put some cross-hatching on his trousers. Just put some wiggly shapes across. And then just do some cross-hatching the other direction. And that's his camo trousers. So there we have Jay the Mole, who was number 4. I'm just making the outline around that a little bit stronger. So anyway, Jay was number 4 in the previous edition of SAS Who Dares Wins. He was the mole on the inside, feeding information to Ant, Mark, Billy Billingham, Foxy and Ollie Ollerton. So anyway, it will be interesting to see them in the celebrity one as that goes live, the second series of the celebrity SAS Who Dares Wins. But anyway, we are now going to do this proper drawing of Jay. So now you can see that we have Jay. So I'm going to come in and we're going to start with my trusty 2B pencil. Now we've got all of these lines, the centre line 105, and you can see how it just comes down to the 25, but you can see where his hat is. And so where his hat is at the top of his head is kind of right on the top of this line, just to the right of the centre line. And it comes over to the 145. So these lines are actually helping you into the inside of the 85. So I'm going to just draw in an extra square shape there, and then we can just curve the hat over. Sorry, that one, I was on the wrong line completely. We got the box for his head, comes over to 145 and down to 85. And then we've got a little rectangle there going up on the side, and we can just curve that kind of, you can put a rectangle in right the way across, but we can curve that over. We've got a simple triangle right on the 105 line, coming down under 85 for Jay's nose. A rectangle for the top of his moustache. And then you've got his lips will go in this rectangle, but we've just got a simple curve shape in as well. And then we've got his chin and his beard that comes down within those two squares. And then we've got a rectangle that kind of goes up there, little rectangle for his ear, and then we've got a little rectangle on either side for the sides of his goatee that comes down and then goes to his beard on the side. And here, coming up just past the nose, we've got a simple little triangle, which is his beard going up the side of his face. And then we've got these fantastic dark shapes caused by his eyebrows. So there's a triangle of shadow. And then we've got Jay's eyes at the top. And you've got another little triangle there. And his eyes inside. So here on this side, I'm just going to put two lines up there for the creases going up on his forehead. Want a little rectangle there for Jay's right eyebrow. And then I'm just going to put a rectangle in. In fact, I'll just put a rectangle over the top of that one for his right eye. And then that kicks back over on that side. But again, I'm just putting these shapes down very quickly. So here we've got a little triangle of the fabric. You've got this big collar that comes out past the 165 line, comes down, and then we've got a little rectangle there. Another rectangle as the collar comes down. Now here we've got, and it kind of goes between the 145 and the 165 line, and it's coming down on the 125. We've got a lovely rectangle, and this is just a perfect shape, and this is the badge on his left arm of the clothing brand, the Through Dark Expedition clothing that Jay wears and is proudly showing off. It's the same on his hat actually, on the corner up here, isn't it? On the side, got a little rectangle there. So we can draw this rectangle shape, and you can see how that comes down through these square points, just a little curve on the bottom. But then we've got here, we've got below, it's below the 205 and the 225, and this is putting just little points in. And when I learnt to draw at art college, we did actually have life drawing classes. I've mentioned before how we weren't really taught a lot, but in one life drawing class we were taught how to look around. So all these grid lines that are on here, the lines that were behind the model, so if there was a dado rail kind of thing, or there was drapery hidden hanging down over folded boards and things like that in the top of the chair, we were told to use those lines like I'm teaching you to use these grids, and they're the reference points, and that's what you do, and you learn to get your eye in. So here below this 205 line on the 85 line, we've got this little triangle. There's just a little triangle where his right wrist is going under his left arm. And the thing with folded arms is they can seem to be a little bit complex. But now I'm going to bring this down all the way. And we've got a rectangle for this arm all the way up here. And so we can see we've just got this great big line, and here I'm just going to do a D. So I've drawn a line across, and you can see where the fabric actually is. And so I'm going to just draw this D shape kind of on the side. There's the back of the D, and that comes all the way up, and that's his shoulder. Little triangle there for that fold, and then we can just draw this line down for his back. And now here I want another square in a rectangle shape, and then another one there which is the top of his wrist. So you got from his elbow to his wrist coming down, and then we have a little circle there, tiny little rectangle for this toggle that's there. We want a triangle coming down, and these are the fabric lines coming down, and then his right shoulder comes out through the toggle to this corner, and then we can literally just draw the line down. But you can see here we've got in these folds, you've got a V, you've got a nice triangle there, and again the lines that come down. And now finally we've got the front of his body coming out from underneath his arm. So there you can see we've got very, very simple basic shapes to actually give us the basic outline that we can now detail up for J, just using simple basic shapes. Now I'm going to sharpen my pencil. I need the piece of paper to lie on, so I've got a sharp point, and this way I'm not smudging the pencil that's already down on my paper. So now we're going to start with J's eyes. So I'm going to start with his left eye, where we drew this little triangle. And you've got a slight curve coming round to his tear duct, and is from his tear duct up to the upper eyebrow, and then just over the 125 line just curves a little bit, and then that goes, his upper eyelid goes right up and over, and then you've got the crease right in the corner. And then we've got his eyeball, well, not his eyeball, but his iris and his pupil inside, and that's very dark, so I'm just going to fill that in quite quickly. And then we've got the edge of his nose right into the shadow where his eyebrow is, in that upper part of that square. So now we've got the crease that's going up to his hat, the crease from the right hand side of his nose going up underneath his hat, and then his nose just kinks down, and we've got this triangle that we put in. So going to, you can see from where his eye is, so I'm just looking, you've got the centre line, and that's kind of to about a third, so we just need to bring this over a little bit. And the edge of his nose is kind of on just past the kind of third point, and then that curves down underneath. Kind of front of his nose is just to the right of the centre line, and then it goes up following the triangle that we drew at the beginning, but again it's not a straight line, so you've got a curve, and then his nose just slightly curves out, going right the way up to that centre part. The edge of his nose there, I'm just indicating where the shadow is. And then coming off the side of his nose underneath the 85 line, you've got this little crease, which is the kind of smile line from his nose down past his mouth. Now we want to put bag under his eye, and then the crease in the corner, and we're just putting the eye in rather quickly. So now again on his right eye, it's all within this square, so we've got the top eyelid round down to the edge, and then it just kind of curves up slightly angled, and that goes right over into the shadow in the corner. Now his tear duct is just a simple little V, just points down a little bit, and then his eye curves around and curves up, and then his iris and pupil just nice and dark in the centre, and then you've got this rectangle that we put in for his eyebrow, and that goes right in the corner. And now we've just got a couple of little eyes. Now again, because this is a full body, you're not going to be as detailed as you are on the previous portraits, but we're doing an overall shape, and you'll see it all come together later when we get more of the detail in on the body. So now we want the side of his head coming down past his eye, so we've got, just comes out to that point and then kicks back in, comes down, and then we want his beard, and that's just kind of fuzzy, so I'm just indicating, I'm not doing a solid straight line, I'm just doing nice little lines all the way down. Then we want his mouth in, so we can see here the top of part of his goatee underneath his bottom lip is right on the line, and then we've got this lovely curved shape for his bottom lip, and that comes right the way over to kind of the middle part of his eye, over to the construction line that you put in, and then we can put the centre line in, just slightly curve it at the top and then just wobble it again into the centre. And then you've got this little highlight for his top lip. So I actually push the pencil up a bit, so I'm just removing that with the putty rubber. And then his lip, top lip, curves down. And the same on the right hand side. And then you've got his moustache. That curves down over his top lip. It goes to the edge of that square. It comes out from under his nose. And then goes to the edge. Again, the same. We want to just, on this side, just follow the lines down that we've put in from underneath his nostril. You've got a nice V of highlight there. So again, I'm just going to slightly remove that construction line that we put in so as it doesn't obscure. And you can see coming down from his nose, that's where the edge of his goatee actually is. And then we've got this fantastic dark part right at the bottom of his chin, and this curves up around the edge. So I'm just indicating quickly just fuzzy lines for the edge of his beard because it's not a crisp solid line. And I'm going in the direction that the hairs of his beard will grow. So now just past the centre, and then we want just those fuzzy lines coming down the edge of his beard, and then you've got his ear. We've got the shadow line caused by his hat. That comes up, curves round, goes up over it, his left eyebrow, and then we've got this little shape. So imagine a capital D there, that's the shape of the ear. And we've got the bottom part of his earlobe showing, and you've got a little V there for the dark of his ear where the entry to his ear canal is. So now I'm just sharpening my pencil again, and we're coming in to just add the outline on Jay's hat. So we're just following the construction line that we just put on there, and that then curves up and over, and it goes right through that corner point, and then we can follow it there. It comes over down through this line, and then past the 85 line. It's only about a third of the way through, so we can just curve that down, and that comes underneath the 65 line, and then you've got the edge of his hat, how it just points out. So we've got this little triangle here, kind of a sharp C for the edge of the rim of his hat as it bends around, and then that then kind of curves up and over and comes right the way over and down this side where you've got this kind of dark line. Now I'm putting these lines down very dark, and again, some people have said, oh, why don't you zoom in? But we can't put as much detail in as we do when we have a full face. And this is like when I've done How to Draw Toy Story or any other cartoon character. So check out them in the How to Draw playlist. And you see how just putting the shapes down and putting the full lines down helps to develop the full drawing. And doing a full body like this is a different set of techniques than just doing a face. So it's just great to do the different varieties to give you different skill sets and just challenge you and push your drawing. So now we want to have the bottom of his hat, and it comes from right this corner, just curves up over, and then you get a little dink down over the two creases in between the middle of his forehead, coming up from his eyes and his nose, and then it curves over and comes down right down through that corner. So now we can follow the edge of his hat off. We've put this square in at first, but we can see how it just curves all the way up and round and over. And the top of his hat is in between the 105 and 125 lines. And these grids are old master techniques. It goes right the way back to Michelangelo and people there during the Renaissance. When lenses were invented, it just became so easy, and people like Leonardo, you can study his workings out of perspective and 1 point perspective and 2 point perspective, and he draws all the lines and develops the way that architecture was done in art. It's just phenomenal to see and study. But these are just techniques. If you learn these techniques, it will help you for the rest of your drawing life. So his hat now curves around the back. Again, I'm using the curve of my hand. I'm just keep glancing at the reference, following the line down, and that curves and goes down there. So now here we've got this little rectangle, and it kind of doesn't go straight up, it's got a little kind of wobble there, and that's the edge of the rectangle, and then there's a little ellipse inside, and that'll be for the Through Dark logo. So again, I'm now going to just draw a little line down. You've got a U and a little line across. And there's a tiny little circle, but it's so small that you can't really put it in. And that's the Through Dark logo on the hat. So again, these shapes now on his actual hat, because we've got the construction lines and the grid lines in, it helps us to just put them in. So we can see here from on the 125 line, there are two little rectangles, so we can just draw the one there, and that gives us that shape. On the 105 line, we've got just over, we've got another little rectangle there, and then we can come over and we've got another one there. And then the same as we come over from this side, we've got those two lines that make that little rectangle, and then one there, and then one on the edge, and then going on his hat that follows the form of his head going to the back. We've got these lines already in place, and it's just a nice little curve. And the same with this one. So on this side, so this would be like the kind of centre line of his head, they're just curving in the same direction as the hat there, and then on this side they need to curve that way. So that's like a C, that's like they're going to be more like the outside of a D. So you've got concave curving in, convex curving out. So now we want that line going up to the top, and then that comes down there, and then we've got another one that comes down and joins there, and that comes down over where the logo is, and then we want this line coming down. I don't know if you can hear the wind outside my studio. My studio's in the loft, so when it rains it batters on the top, and then it is really windy outside and it's whistling a bit. So if you can just hear that, it's kept the noise of the birds down, because the birds have all had little hatchlings and They are chirping away most of the day, but the wind has really made them subdued. And it's a good, like I say, we're drawing Jay with his big jumper on and his hat. It's kind of necessary with the wind that's outside. So now we're curving this one down, and it comes just inside this line. Next one is kind of in the center of the next line, and the next one comes down and then right to the edge. And now we can see we've got the bag under his right eye and the creases coming off. We just got a little bit of the corner on that side of his mouth. So there we have the outline for Jay's face. Just sharpening the pencil again. I'm going to use my 2B that's in my pencil extender, just so as I can. This one's nearly out, so this is quite getting lower and lower. But these pencil extenders are brilliant because you get more life out of your pencil, and you can get them from most art stores. So now we have this little circle there, and the toggle, it's kind of rounded, so you've got that little rectangle, and then you've got the actual cord that goes up into the toggle. So now we've got, if you just look carefully, we can see the shape. Excuse me, just need some water. That's better. And so we're just looking for the creases now. So it's going like this really big collar, curves up, and the crease comes up through the square, over and down. Now I use the movement from my shoulder and my elbow, just lightly having my hand on the paper. That way you're not doing like when I was doing all these little sketchy lines, you get a fluid line. So just practice that, just practice doing fluid lines using your hand, not really resting on the actual paper, using your shoulder and not resting your hand down, so that you're getting fluid lines. So now I'm going to do the same. We're going to go up, over for the corner of his collar, and then that curves down right to the back. Now we're going to go right the way down his back from this top part of his shoulder. So we're just going to curve out, comes down, curves, and then it just comes out. And we need to come, actually I'm going to put a little marker point there. So we need to push this line out. It wasn't far enough out. It's just past the kind of halfway point. And then that comes down 2 squares, and yeah, so we've got the kind of right line there. So now I'm going to push that out, come down his back, and then that comes all the way down. And I'm just wobbling the line because you can see the kind of shape of the fabric, the pattern that's in it. And so off this line where the corner point is, we've got a great crease coming down underneath. Then we've got his right arm, and we just need to follow this construction line, this rectangle that we actually put in. And that comes down to the 265 line on the 125 line, and you can see where that comes right to that point. So I'm now resting my left hand on top of my right hand to keep it off the paper, and I can just follow the line down, and I'm just kind of wiggling the line a bit, not keeping it smooth, because you've got this lovely patterning coming all the way down of his jumper, and then we want the curve coming down and underneath, and this curves up, and this is his left arm folding, and folded arms are quite difficult to do, but again, if you break it down into simple shapes like this, it just becomes really easy. So that goes up, and then we've got a little curve in that square, and then a little curve going up past that logo, and then this crease goes up to join up there. Now we've got this great rectangle patch on his arm, so that curves over, comes down, just kicks out. He's just got a slight little curve following the shape of his arm, and then a line that comes down to the edge, just sharpen it. Oh gosh, the pencils I've got to take it down to the pencil, sharpen it, because I want the sharp point. The metal was stopping it from actually going into my electric pencil sharpener. I hope you like that sound, because I really like the gadget, it's fantastic. So now here, what we've got is we've got the Through Dark logo, and this is, again, it's just dead simple shapes. So we've got just a simple straight line coming up to there. So that starts with a line. I'm just going to put another one next to it because it's a white on black, and then we've got a little circle bobble at the bottom. Now we've got, I'm going to do this ellipse that's coming down and round, and it comes through this side line. So I'm just going to put a little point there, so imagine that the actual circle that's the centre, that's your cross line, and I've just put the cross line over there that you can see, and you've got the edge points, and you've got the very top, and you want the bottom, and you can even, if you want, draw a cross, so you know where, and you can put the marks on where you actually want to go for your ellipse. And then it's just a case of doing a dot to dot. And I'm just going to, I keep twisting the pencil so I've got the sharp line of my 2B pencil. Now when I did the portrait of Billy Billingham, I did it completely with the 2B pencil. I didn't even use the 4B or the 2H. Now you can use a HB or a 2H if you want a much sharper, more detailed line. It's up to you. But I just really love the versatility of a 2B pencil. So now I've got a little circle at the top. Well, it's a little kind of ellipse shape. Circle inside. So down here at the bottom, we want a cross line going through with just a couple of little points at the edge. And then you've got a U shape here. And you just match it. And there you've got the Through Dark logo actually constructed very quickly and very simply. So now we've got more fold lines of fabric. And you can just look and you can see where inside the squares they go, and just curve them up. Now I'm going to come down, like I say, we've just put those two in. We've got this one that follows down, but we're just going to put this bright part of his hand in. So here we want to follow the curve over, and then the cuff gives us the curve coming around the top of his hand that's folded underneath his left arm. And then you can just follow the pattern up and shape of his right arm, the big chunky jumper that's going up over the top. Again, just indicate the kind of crease lines that we can see. So now coming down here, I'm just going to put a little wobbly line in for the edge. We've got a little crease line that we can see folding the fabric, and the same with this edge coming down underneath. We've got the kind of square shape that we put in, but you can see it's just slightly curved. So now just indicate the curve coming down, and it kind of hits the bottom point and then goes up right into the corner there. Now his arm, you can see it comes past the kind of halfway point. So from the top we can just wobble that line out a bit, and then it kind of goes a little bit straight coming down into here, and then it kicks across again to come and join at the bottom. And then you've got the curve that comes up through the 25 line and the 205, and then it comes down underneath and then curves up and doesn't just quite touch the line. But you can see there we've got the folds in the fabric. They are just coming down. That's the direction that they go. Now right here between the 205 going across and the 65, right in this corner, you can just see a very bright part, and that's his left hand that's just peeking here. It's a tiny little triangle. And that comes on the top of that fabric. And then we've got this fantastic set of folds, and so this curves through and goes up through that second square above, up there. And then we've got another one that comes down, and then some more that just come down, and then we've got another fantastic slight curved one here, comes all down to join above his right hand. And I just keep glancing at the reference, and that curves up, goes up right underneath the big collar, and then we've got the same, that curves up and goes all the way up. Now there's just some kind of little highlighted part there and there in the clothing, and now we've got the shoulder. In fact, we've got a little bit more coming off the collar, so that comes out and kicks down, and then the shoulder comes out, over and down, just underneath the construction line that we put in. And then you get this fantastic curve of this fold that comes down and joins there. The next one comes out past the kind of halfway line, and then that curves down. Now it looks like there must be another, because that's quite flat there. So here on this side you can see we've got a very flat, so there must be another badge on this side, and that comes down through about the halfway point underneath the bottom next line, the 185 line, and then we've got just like kind of wiggly shape of the actual fabric. So there's another fold line, another fold line, another fold line, and then we've got these like giant cables like rope that folds around, and the same there, and then that's the final part of the edge. And so that there is just a full outline of J. Now we're going to rub out all of these grid lines that we've actually got inside, and then we can start work on filling in the shading. Now, because there's so much space, I can use this full-size Mars plastic eraser, and I'm pressing on quite hard. Even though I've taken the paper down, I'm just pressing on and using the actual paper that I was resting my hand on as well, to not have the paper flying everywhere. You just need to be careful. I'm just pressing, I'm holding the edge with my fingertips right at the bottom, and I'm just removing some from around the edge of J, but I'll leave the others on so you can just see them and see the grid, and I kind of quite like leaving them for you to see, because it shows you're working out and the process that you've gone. I can just slightly erase some of them. Even your rubbing out can be arty, but it just leaves some of the grid showing. And as I've said before in the previous videos, if you're looking at art that is totally representational and even hyper real, and you don't see the artist showing you how they've laid down the drawing, if there's no squiggly lines like I've done here, and it's absolutely a pristine, crisp line, they've either used a grid, they've projected, or they've traced. They're just techniques. It's not cheating. It's using techniques. There's nothing wrong with it, but don't hide it. And artists of old, now this is again a Mars plastic eraser. The only reason this is just what I use. I enjoy using these particular rubbers, and this one's in a kind of pan, which makes it really good for this detail erasing, really, which is what it is. And anyway, back to the grids and tracing. Like, people go, oh, it's terrible that people should trace. Why? I can remember David Hockney did a documentary and a report where he traced portraiture, and when we got to the Renaissance, people like Galileo started using lenses and studying the sky. Well, artists got hold of lenses, and all of a sudden portraiture and architectural pictures outside all of a sudden became absolutely fantastic. It's like shock horror. It's like they were using lenses. No, you don't say. It's kind of like Scooby-Doo. It's like, who? What? Huh? You know. And I can remember being at art college and discovering, again, the art school didn't teach us this. I was in the library. I was studying books from artists in America and across Europe. And I'm now going to brush off all of this rubbing out. And, oh, missed a bit on his lip. And it was just bizarre to actually have people like aghast. It's like, oh, they're using lenses. And the Victorians had loads. And I've actually got one. It's called a camera lucida. This is an ancient piece of equipment. Historical piece of equipment. And people in all trades do have old tools and things that they used to use. And this is an arm Might have to do a video on it once. I've never used it because it's like weird, really weird. And the arm joins on the side of your drawing board and comes out, and you put little lenses in. And the different lenses gave different strengths, so it meant you could see things. And you look down through there's a prism, and the prism allowed you to see the paper underneath. And you could then see what's in front of you, and you could basically sketch what's in front of you. And the artists used to use this, and they would have a drawing board on the lap, and they go on the grand tour around Europe, and they'd also use a thing called a mauve glass, which allowed them to see the landscape in different colours. Now that's like filters in Instagram or in Snapchat or something like that. It's like there's nothing new under the sun at all. So anyway, that is our drawing outline of Jay, looking pretty good. And we're getting there. We're now going to fill him in with the shading and shadow. Right, just going to sharpen my 2B pencil. And we're now going to start shading J in. Now we've got quite a lot of highlight just right down the front on the top of his forehead and the top of his nose, but again I'm just going to go very gently and fill in all of his skin, just gently filling it in all the way down across his lip, the two little sides of underneath his bottom lip, and then these are quite light. I'm just filling those in quite quickly. And now I'm going to fill in the darker shades around his eye. Caused by his eye socket. Underneath this eyebrow, right off to the side. Then we've got the shadow coming off his hat. And then shade underneath the bottom of his nose, the side of his nose, kind of a bit of a triangle shape of shade just coming down there. Underneath his right eye, coming off his nose, then down the edge of his cheek. I got this kind of shade, this crease line coming over from the side of his nose across his cheek, down off from underneath the hat. Now I'm not turning the pencil, I'm just using the flat again so it's nice and soft. Then we've got the dark of that cheek, just coming down there, the shade going up to the top of his hat. So now I've just twisted the pencil a little bit so I've got a sharper point and I can just add some detail. Just a little curve coming round. Just more on the nose. Just being very, very careful, just adding slowly. Now, right in this corner, we've got this like fantastic triangle of dark shade. And we can really darken down that eye into that eyeball. Then top of his nose there, the side of his nose going up the side. This is actually just quite a quick little sketch. Just as we've increased the dark a little bit on Jay's left eye, now going to increase on his right eye, in his socket coming down, the actual eyeball, is all in shadow, and then we've got this lovely shadow under the fold under his right eye. Then in his ear on this side, just bringing that dark down. Again, here we've got, just indicates some of his beard. And the top part of the highlights there, and just a little bit of shading there. Now you can see we've got so much white space. It's almost as if we can't really see the detail developing, and when we put all the dark in on his hat and on his jumper, it will make a huge difference. And again, even things like the fact that his beard is still showing all of the paper. So now I'm just using the side of the pencil just to fill in the dark on his lips. Just need my piece of paper back so as I don't smudge the pencil line that I've put down. And we just want to increase the dark between his two lips. Now we also want a little bit of shadow coming underneath on his bottom lip, and I'm just indicating very lightly just the kind of lines of his lip. Now again, as I've said before, there's no particular order, so I'm now just pulling off all the pencil between the little crease in between his top lip, because you can see how you got a really lovely little sharp highlight where his moustache is. And here we're going to have quite a dark little triangle of shadow coming from underneath his nose. And we can increase that dark. And we're just getting really good form and shape. And so now I'm going to indicate very quickly, twisting the pencil just so as it stays a little bit sharp, his moustache and beard. So here we've got a little highlight that's left, so I'm just trying to leave that line exposed that little bit. And if you just do lines as if they are the whiskers, and you can leave it showing little bits of the white paper showing through. That'll be like the little flecks of the white hairs in his beard. And now I'm doing the same, going all the way up to his ear, that shadow that comes underneath. And we will be using a 4B pencil because we've got lots of dark to fill in, whereas on the Billy Billingham picture I just used the 2B pencil for the whole drawing, which was a great thing to do. Wasn't planned, just kind of happened. So there we have that dark of his beard filling in, and you can see just in a sense he's kind of becoming more human with the more detail that we're actually putting in. So on the front we need to just leave quite a bit of highlighted hair, so you just leave the paper exposed that little bit. It's kind of quite dark right underneath his bottom lip, coming down the front of his chin. And again at the side we've got some brilliant white highlights here, so I'm going to fill in the dark on the right hand side of his cheek going up. Again, just twisting the pencil. It's getting quite blunt now, but if you just keep twisting it you get a slight little sharpness. On the edge of the pencil that's gone flat from the previous lines that you've drawn down. So now coming down above the top of his lip on the left hand side of the drawing, his right hand side, we've got a nice little curve shape there. And again, just keep drawing the whiskers in the direction that they would grow. It just looks more natural. Nice dark shadow right in that corner. And we're just filling in, like the reason I've not sharpened the pencil is I'm just filling in a lot of general area tone. And we'll add the detail when we put the rest of the shadow in. We'll add a lot more of the detail in and sharper lines afterwards. So there, that's looking pretty good. So I'm now going to just sharpen the pencil, ready for the next section. But we're going to just come in quickly with the putty rubber. So I'm going to start coming down the bridge of the nose. Got a couple little horizontal lines there, the crease in between his forehead, over the top of his eyebrow, curving round his cheek, the edge of his cheek where the crease is next to his nose, just coming down that side a little bit. And then right up into where his tear duct is, we can just pull a little highlight up, and then the same on the bags under his eyes, his upper eyebrow, just gently dabbing, and you got some reflected lights. And now you can see just gives us a little bit more three-dimensionality. Now above his moustache is a bright one, and then up in the corner that comes down, and then off the side of his eye, side of his cheek. Then we've got a really nice highlight right down the side of his cheek. And then And again, right in the corner where his tear duct is, little fleck. And then the top of his lower eyelid. And inside the creases, just some reflected highlights again. And that's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to get my 4B pencil. Again, this one again is a shortened one, it's in the pencil extender. And because this is softer, you'll get a darker shadow and a darker tone easier. And I'm using the tip but side on, not directly on with the sharp. And I'm going to fill in this shadow right underneath the brim of his hat. Again, resting my right hand on top of the paper so I'm not smudging the drawing I've already done. And it just frees up my left hand resting on top of it. Just gives me a little bit of freedom. Just to kind of jiggle backwards and forwards. Whereas if this was on, I'd only have the movement of my fingers. Whereas I'm using my hand as the bridge, I'm actually moving directly from my shoulder. So my hand is pivoting from my shoulder, not my fingers. Again, just a nice, simple little technique. I'm bringing that shadow all the way down, just leaving a little bit of that highlight showing on that brim, going all the way around. Now we've got quite a bit of dark, so I'm just turning my hand over and twisting in the little through dark logo on the side of his hat. Now we call these Benny hats. Like a lot of people call them beanies now, don't they? You know, people have bought a beanie. And I think the reason we called them Benny hats in the UK was there was a character in a television programme, I think it was called Crossroads, years ago. And his name was Benny, and he wore a beanie. I think, now again, I am not claiming authority on that, but that's the only reason why I think we called them Benny hats, is because this character in Crossroads was called Benny. And he wore what most people now call a beanie hat. So if I call this a Benny hat, that's why. Again, that's just me showing my age. Getting close to a half century on the face of this mud ball. So I've just indicated the logo there and filled that in quickly. And now I'm going to just put some of the dark, and you can hear him just wiggling it. I'm not doing like I did the lines, solid pointed line. I'm just kind of fuzzing because the hat is the fabric in it. It used to be like a woolen hat, but it's a knitted hat, knitted beanie. So it's not going to have solid crisp lines. Instead, you've got nice, soft, kind of ribbed patterning. And so the 4B is actually really good for doing this. And so you can see there's kind of a darker shade and then a lighter shade, and it's always like the weave on the lighter shade is higher, and it'll just be the way that the actual weave works, the way that it reflects the light. So you can see here now we have this one here is kind of slightly darker, so I'm putting the kind of dark edge in, and then I'm just filling it with soft cross hatching. Just to indicate the weave inside the hat. And now I'm going to do the same going round, and it's darker as it comes down to this area here. So because we put all the construction lines in, you really are just filling in shapes. I mean, my wife often says to me that I just basically colour in when I'm doing my oil paintings, and that's all painting is. If you work on your drawing first, which is this, your outline, then it doesn't matter whether you're filling in with a pencil or you're filling in with paint, you are essentially just colouring in. Which is why your underdrawing is so critical. And so here we have that third one, and then there's a fourth one right to the edge. See, actually, I am now going to just rub that out a little bit, because that third one should be right inside the centre of that through dark logo. So I'm just going to fill that up. There's the third one, and then we've got that fourth slight edge going round to the corner. Again, I just keep twisting the pencil after kind of every line or every other line, and it just sharpens it up a little bit. But because this is a 4B and it's so soft, it blunts very, very quickly. And this one here that comes through the 105 line, that's nice dark coming down the front, and then goes lighter as it goes over the top. And then this one here, we've got a dark line just twisting, dark line there, and you can see that we are filling in the hat quite quickly. Now again, the same on the upturned brim of the beanie. The darker ones are kind of the ones in between, because the weave underneath will be the opposite of the ones above. So now we want this one coming down, and the same right into the corner. Just nearly knocked my 2B pencil off the desk. Then you've got a dark line and a lighter line coming around the brim as it comes around the hat. And you've got the dark shadow right underneath. And then the patterning just comes down over the top as well. I'm just going to sharpen the pencil, just so as I've got a slightly sharper point to start the work with. And then dark patch on the edge for that stripe, and then the same for that one, and then we've got those two there. And we want to carry the tone right the way around, and then it's really dark next to his head in that shadow, and then you've got a darker shadow just to the outside, and that really stands out. So now I'm coming back in with the 2B pencil, and I'm kind of using the side just because it's a lighter tone, and I'm just quickly filling these other stripes in. On his hat. And I'm just whacking some little vertical lines in. Inside the tone. And there, that's looking, starting to look really good. So again, 2B pencil still, and I'm following the direction of the lines that are going up the beanie hat. And you've got flecks in, so I'm just putting little lines in. But these are like the lines that are in the weave. You've got a bit more highlight showing up on the top. And then that comes down there, and we need to kind of just put a little shadow under the ridge. Again, I'm just putting cross hatching on, and that's going over all the lines because we've got this kind of slightly darker shade. And then with the tip of the pencil, just twisting it, I'm now just putting some little dabs and little squiggles in, and these are the kind of flecks that you can see in the hat. Again, just little nice squiggles, little flecks, keep twisting the pencil. And that kind of creates your flecks. And there, that's looking really good. Oh, I'm enjoying this. Again, this is a very, very dark one. I chose this rather than just doing a full straight portrait. It's nice to actually do. So I'm using the side of the pencil now and just filling some tone in again. And you come back in with your putty rub it, and you've got the top of the fold, and just dab, and you'll pick out that highlight. But the reason that we're doing a full figure rather than a direct close-up face is it's just really different. And again, it's developing skills and techniques, and we want the highlight at the bottom of the brim, that it's coming down underneath the through dark logo there, and then that curves around the edge. And that was the very, very detailed, or more detailed part of the hat. Again, right at the top of the hat, there's a good highlight right the way at the top that curves down here, and we left a lot of the paper. So if you just follow the direction of the weave gently with a pinched putty rubber and just top up the edges, there you can see the hat now has a lot more three-dimensionality to it. So now make sure I have the 4B pencil. We're going to use the side, and we're going to use it really quickly. And we know we've got a dark shadow right underneath his chin. And all the way down underneath the edge of his chin, the side of his beard going up. Got the centre ring of where the pull cord goes through there, so we'll leave the paper. And then we've got these construction lines. We've got the toggle first. Just leave a little highlight at the top, dark line down underneath, curves down right under, fill in with a slightly darker, softer tone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow these lines using the side of the pencil to fill in these darker creases. Again, just resting my hand, my left hand on top of my right hand. So if you're right-handed, it'll be your right hand on top of your left hand. I'm just doing these wiggles these lines of the folds in the fabric, but I'm doing it in little kind of wiggly lines because of the big cable patterning in his top. So here where this comes down the top of his hand over his right arm. And if you check out in the Portraits time-lapse playlist, Shake You Can a Mason, I just did an outline. I did all of his hands and his face and his cello, and then I left his clothes just like an outline like this, which can be kind of really good and arty. And again, that's the joy with art. You can create and you can add or leave out as much as you want, and that's what I did on Mark Billy Billingham's as well. I didn't actually put any dark in on his shirt, but this one I want just the big shape, this big kind of silhouetted shape is wonderful because it's just an excuse to make marks. So again, underneath his left arm, and then we've got that nice line there, and I'm following the line down, but I'm just wiggling it, and again using the side of the pencil, and you're making a big thick nice fat line. Kind of darker shadow inside, you got the highlight at the top. So you can see it's just giving more definition. So as we come down to the white on his hand here, I'm just using the tip of my pencil to get a little bit sharper definition. And now we want these darks, just increasing those underneath the bottom of his arm, coming down, and the right arm, and then the shadows here in these folds. Coming right the way down. And then we've got nice dark shadow on that through dark label on his right arm. And then there's a dark shadow on that edge. And again, fold at the top round the back of his head. Just sharpening the 4B pencil, so that's ready for the next section, but we are going to get back in with the 2B. Oh, that might be the last one, might get one more go out of this. But the reason I'm using the 2B first is because, and I've got a sharp point on it, is I want to crisp up the outlines of the Through Dark logo on his left sleeve, and then we can fill this logo in. And the actual badge on the sleeve quite quickly. So there's the little, we've done the big outline, the ellipse around the side, and then I'm just extending those down a little bit. You got a little kind of flick at the top, and then you got the crossbar So I'm just filling the edge. Now again, I'm just using the normal pencils. If I was doing my highly detailed time-lapse drawings, I would be using the propelling pencils. But I am just trying to use the same kind of equipment that you would all have access to. Now, talking about access to equipment, you still can't get flour in this country. Toilet rolls on the shelves. Do check out how to draw a toilet roll in the How to Draw playlist. Using exactly the same techniques as on here. And but I've been trying to buy a large set of cheap felt tip pens. Can't get them for love nor money because loads of people are drawing at home. And I did manage to get a cheap set of pencil crayons from Poundland. They'll be being used possibly in a week or two, possibly, because again I do like doing the pencil drawing stuff, but just so as I do real world lessons. So there, we've filled in all around that logo, and now I'm going to quickly fill in, and here I'm pressing on quite hard with the 2B pencil, but I'm showing the lines because this badge does actually have some lines on, and it's just in the patterning of the material again, so you can be quite expressive. So now I'm going in the opposite direction, and I haven't twisted the pencil so as I've got the big flat side working for me, and you've just got that kind of bobbly effect in the badge on the material on the logo. Now I'm just putting a couple of little squiggles and round shapes, and that just helps to give you some patterning on the actual drawing. But again, as I was saying, I was trying to get cheap materials and just general art materials, and the paper that I use is called Daler-Rowney red and yellow, and you can get it either spiral bound or gum stripped, and anyway you can barely get them anymore. And I did get a new pad sent to me, and it got damaged in the post unfortunately. It just wasn't packaged well, and I use this for my job. But again, this is why I've used real world equipment, stuff you can just buy or get access to very, very quickly. So it will be interesting trying to get hold of some paper, because people have just bought out all the stocks, or shops are shut, and they've even shut their online stores. So again, I'm now matching some of the tone inside the through dark circle, and that's looking pretty good. So I'm now just increasing the dark on this side, because there's a little bit more darker shadow underneath as it curves around. So anyway, I hope that's pretty good. Now back to the 4B pencil. So now you can see this big thick cabling. Now I am not doing this completely accurately. We are going for an impression, but I'm still going in the same direction of the way that this cabling is actually going around the jumper. And when I did How to Draw a Toilet Roll, I did actually count the quilting, the actual lines that made up the quilting. Again, I'm resting my left hand on top of my right hand so that I've got better movement of my arm. And I'm using the flat part, not really twisting it, so I'm getting a flatter edge, because the cabling is fluffy. Fabric is fluffy and soft. Now I'm doing that going up his shoulder, but we're going for an impression quite quickly of Jay's jumper. So even though I am looking at the reference and kind of seeing how many lines there are, I'm not actually counting and going for exact, but I am curving them in the direction that it needs to go. And so you can see here there's one that comes across. You've almost got like a triangle there, and that curves right the way across. And I'm not afraid to let the lines go over, because I'm doing an expressionist, quite an impressionistic drawing. I'm not going for very accurate detail. If you want to do the accurate detail, hyper-real stuff, again, you've got to put the hours in. Yeah, this is going to be a lesson that's going to be about 2 hours long, hopefully. Jason Fox and Ollie Ollerton, they were about 1 hour 40, and Billy Bingham was about 3 hours. So was Dumbledore and Billie Eilish. And each drawing can be different, but if you want to do hyper-real, you've got to spend weeks. Weeks and weeks and weeks. So now I can see that the angle's just changing as it's coming down to his elbow a little bit. And I can see here, so I'm just gently indicating the lines that I want to put in, but you can just see the patterning, and they're like big bobbles, kind of going a slight different way. So as that curves and goes up, this is lovely, really nice. It just feels great, the flat of the pencil just moving along. And that's another thing, these pencils, I've used these Faber-Castell pencils and these De La Rowney pads for over 30 years, and you just get used to how things feel. Hence trying to get hold of some pads, and I will hopefully get hold of some, but if not, I do have other paper and we can carry on drawing. So now this is all in the dark underneath, but there's still going to be cabling. So because I can't actually see the pattern, I'm just indicating, following the shape of his body. And this is like really loose cross hatching basically, because we're just filling in low, so you're getting the shape and form of Jay's body. So now we've got a darker shadow line there. We can do that to the edge, and then we've got some horizontals coming down. And then we've got the curves coming around his cuff. And then curving over each of the folds. Again, I'm using the side of the pencil to create a mark that I am happy with, that represents the thick cabling of the jumper. I'm just putting little curves in to give the impression of the cabling over each of the creases that come down from his arm. And then obviously as it comes down underneath, that's going to go darker. And we can just follow the shape. So now I'm following these folds and just indicating, and I'm just literally squiggling. Going up. So again, coming across his chest like we did these, we've now got, and this pencil's, it's really wearing down, but that's great because we're just getting this really big, nice thick line. That's going across his chest, all the way to his shoulder. Again, these, I'm just putting a little bit more curve on, going up in that fold. And the same on this side. And then in the big collar, just indicating the shape, and again it follows the shape of the collar going around, and that's going to be very dark. So there already, I mean, that's actually quite nice. Just seeing all of those lines is actually really nice. Again, just sharpening the 4B pencil up. Again, if you see here, you can see in the patterning kind of diagonal lines coming across the arms. And so I'm just kind of following the flow, but I'm just wiggling, technical term, wiggling the pencil. You just heard that tick. That's the very tip of the pencil just plinging off and going off into the distance somewhere in my studio. Now fortunately I have just bought a new Hoover for the studio because I've got so much pencil flying around and rubbings out, and it's just great to actually have a handheld one rather than lugging the big thing up that I have to plug in. And again, it's just simple things. You just get used to doing stuff for years and years and years. So I've waited years before I've got an actual studio Hoover, and you think, hang on, it's my job? How long have I... Bizarre. So yes. And that's also with the technical pencils. I used to sharpen pencils all the time, hence the electric pencil sharpener. Saves me a lot of time. I used to have to sharpen my pencils absolutely loads. And then one day I just thought, I knew technical pencils existed. So that paper is actually coming out of its grip. And then one day I actually thought, hang on, a technical pencil has a fixed thickness, like 0.5 of a millimetre or 0.3 or 0.7. So you're always going to get the same thickness of straight line. And I had spent 2 decades drawing, sharpening my pencil all the time. And then technical pencil, what a revelation. Absolutely wonderful. So now we're just following the cabling down, just wiggling. But this is something in business. When you're doing something, even if you're doing it as a hobby, there's a definition between what a business is and a hobby. A hobby costs you money. A business should earn you money. But even when you're doing a hobby, get the best equipment that you can, because it will be cheaper in the long run. So now these lines coming down, I'm wiggling as they fold under, kind of come closer together. I want some horizontal ones coming down underneath, just following the shape of his body, just the direction. And these are all going to be very dark in a moment, but just by putting these underneath first, you do actually have some contours, and it's a bit like contour lines on a map. So if you follow the actual shape and form of the body in the jumper, it visually makes your eye look at it and go, oh yeah, that's the right shape of his body. That's looking fantastic. Now, back to the equipment thing. And bear in mind, these guys are all ex-special forces and rely on their equipment and look after it. And you would hope that they had the best equipment that they possibly could to go and do their jobs. Now, get the best that you can, and it makes your job as an artist much easier. And I can even remember, and this is the difference, if you check out how to draw a zombie with a zombie pencil, I use a pencil that has no brand. It's just one of these cheap pencils that you could get from anywhere, you know, pack of 20 for £1 kind of thing. And anyway, I did that zombie drawing with a zombie pencil, and it was fascinating. The feel of it, everything was bad, but you could still do a drawing. Whereas proper drawing pencils from, say, Faber-Castell, Derwent, Stettler, you know, any other professional drawing pencil manufacturer, you will get better results faster. Now, I have actually seen in one of the budget shops in my town charcoal pencils, and I'm going to give them a go to see what they are like later, not very soon, because I've got loads of drawings to do with pencils. So, we need to put some ribbing on the top up here. Again, I'm just following the direction of the fabric, and that helps. Now I'm just filling in some of the shadow quickly using the side. But when you actually follow the shadow, and all the cross hatching that you've put on underneath helps to give the form. And that's looking pretty good. But again, here we can see we've got highlights coming down, and it's kind of the shadow around this side, it's darker, and you've got little highlights on every fleck. But this is where this cross hatching will actually help, rather than doing each individual one. So that's quite good. But again, as I was saying, I will be doing hopefully some of these tutorials with this cheap charcoal pencils, and I will get proper charcoal sticks as well. But that's a long way in the future, because I just want to keep encouraging you guys for drawing. But I love a pencil. Absolutely fantastic. So now I'm using the flat of this pencil very quickly. In fact, I need to sharpen it again. It's just getting too low. And I'm just filling in all the tone. Now, you may have noticed in comparison to others, I have not used any kitchen roll at all yet, or smoothed anything. And just like the 2B, when I filled in a lot of the shading, I'm not twisting of his face, I'm not twisting the pencil. So I'm getting the nice flat side, and I'm getting consistent tone. Not resting my hand on anything, it is literally suspended, and I am pivoting from my shoulder. And now, going up his arm, there's a darker shadow coming up here, and it will be lighter down the edge. But I'm just quickly indicating this middle tone. I'm actually starting to hold the paper before it starts to take off. filling all of this in right up to Jay's ear, and then we've got some good shadow on this corner, and then we need to fill in all across his right arm. Now we've got, this is just a good quick mid-tone, and then we can build up on that after. Again, just filling in some more tone quickly. And even though I'm going diagonally now, it still kind of works with the cabling that you've already put on. So that's a lot of mid-tone on. And then I'm just going to pull up, just dabbing, and it really is picking a load of the pencil up. Becomes very dirty very quickly. But I'm just indicating these big soft highlights across Jay's jumper, across his top of his shoulder and his arm and his chest. But I didn't smudge anything earlier because I'm just getting all this general tone down. Again, there's no actual formula. You can smooth the pencil out very quickly, you can do that from the beginning, or you can do it later. It's just personal preference. But that's looking pretty good so far. So now we're going to just smooth some of this out just very quickly and gently. Now I am going to be using my smudging tool. Now that's a full one, I use these slim ones. This is paper smudging tool, and just like the pencil extenders, this is just a holder that you would put a pen and ink dip nib in for traditional kind of pen and ink drawings, and I can then put these in and it just gives me extra life out of it. And this one's nearly at the end, so again I'm going to be using this because this is so small and tiny. Rather than, I just won't get the control that I want with this. At least I don't think I will. So we'll just have a little go. This is just kitchen roll, and I'm just smudging. Yeah, it's just too big. You can, and again, you can just smudge your finger, do it quick, but I just want to do this quite well. So I'm just using a piece of kitchen roll, and I'm just smoothing over the 4B that we've done on his top, and also just dabbing gently, and you see that's picked up a lot of the graphite that we put down. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to use this smudging tool again, just like a pencil, and I'm pushing the shadow and shade lines around on Jay's face and down by his ear, because it's just small, but it's just great to do this and use this smudging tool as a drawing tool. Again, this patch on his cheek going up to the side of his head and the side of his nose. Now again, just wiping some of the graphite that I've picked up on the smudging tool, and we can bring the tone down on his nose, push that all the way down, then the edge of his nose going up, and then we've got these lines underneath his eye, bag going off to the side, and then this little bit down on his cheek, And this is a great kind of outdoors, weathered looking adventurer image. And we've got the edge coming up there, and we've just got these creases underneath his forehead again. And there you can see it just gives a lot more reality to the drawing. And doing the same on his lips now, coming down underneath the bottom lip, shadow on that side, just underneath the bottom part, and then so that gives us a lot of tonal value now. And if we just come in with the putty rubber and we can sharpen up the top part of his nose, there's that little crease in between, highlight by the side, crease at the top, over the top of his eye, some tiny little flecks in his eyebrow, right up by his tear duct, the top of his lower eyelid, a little bit of a reflected, so I'm just dabbing, and then the highlight down over his cheek, coming up to the side. You can see that's just really lifting the three-dimensionality up of his face. Coming down to his beard, just a little bit of mottling inside, and you've got this little tiny highlight on his ear. A couple of little dabs there. The side of his nose, a little bit above. And this is where using a putty rubber is part of your drawing skill set. It's exactly the same as putting pencil on. You're drawing and adding tone. A couple of little dab highlights in there, right in the corner where his tear duct is. Again, the bags under his eyes, and then that right up into that corner. Highlight on the centre of his bottom lip, going over to the right hand side, and then down into his whiskers. So now I'm just indicating, just pulling some of the pencil off into his whiskers, just dabbing gently and quickly. That gives us a really good three-dimensional direction for just three-dimensional shaping and tone on his face. So now I'm coming back in with the 4B pencil. I've just sharpened it so that I can really increase the darks in his eye. So you got the top part going right the way over to the crease that comes down by his tear duct, just highlighting that little bit inside, and then you've got a tiny little bit coming from his tear duct, and then it just curves down, curves around and up, right over to this side. I'm using the 4B because it is darker, it's softer. We need to bring that edge down. We've got the shape of the hat, creating a bit of a shadow coming off there, and I'm just softening the edge. And then the underneath parts of his eyebrow are a bit darker, right the way into the corner. We've got a soft dark shadow coming down. You've got a nice kind of triangle of shadow there. And that just accentuates that a little bit. And I'm just going to darken over his eyebrow right the way over. And then the curve underneath his lower eyelid on the left eye, up to the tear duct and over. That's pretty good. So now we need to do the same on Jay's right eye. So we've got this nice diagonal line that's coming down, and that's the dark shadow. That goes right the way up and over, and then curves down, the crease does, and touches his nose. And then we can pull that highlight out a little bit more on the nose, and the shadow goes up for that crease. And then in his tear duct is nice and dark, curves around, comes under, and then you've got the edge of his iris and his eye, and it's nice and dark in that corner. And again, the same, his eyebrow, we can just increase the shadow a little bit, and again right down into that corner. And then again we've got a little bit of extra darkness. I'm just gently twisting the pencil so I get a sharp part, and curving underneath his eye for the creases underneath his right eye. Again, the dark underneath his nose now. We can increase that right the way over. The edge of his nose, and right underneath it's very dark where it goes into the top of his moustache. I'm just going to sharpen it again, so that now do the same for his mouth, and you've just got a little kink up, and then you get the crease, the like little U shape right in the centre as it goes over, and it goes over to the left hand side of his mouth, and it's all dark in this corner just underneath the moustache. And then we've got a dark shadow in the centre part, and his whiskers coming down, and you've got that lovely little bright highlight between the centre part of his top lip. And it's darker on this side than it is on this side, so I've just filled that in a little bit. Shadow underneath his bottom lip a little bit, just twisting the pencil, getting the sharper lines, coming back up into his moustache on his top lip, filling the shadow in as that comes down, and the dark of his beard down to the centre. Now we've got some of these lines that are coming up. I'm just twisting the pencil, keeping it sharp. That's looking pretty good. And now the same coming off to the right of his jaw. We're just increasing the darks towards the edge. And just a little impression. We've got nice dark right in the corner of his mouth into the side of his moustache, coming down like to the top part of his beard. Just going to sharpen this up again. And this, so I'm now just softening the edge, just twisting the pencil where his whiskers are just up the side of his face. Again, the same on this side now. It's very dark, round by his ear. And we want the whiskers following the direction of his beard. And then it's very dark right down this side, so we can just keep twisting and fill in larger areas. And then it's really dark underneath the back of his ear. That's looking pretty good. So now I'm coming back in quickly with the smudging tool. Just, you don't have to do this, but I think it's quite worthwhile. And I'm pushing, because it's soft fabric, like we did with the tissue over the larger area, you just get that kind of softened tone on the hat, and you can still see the lines that you've made, and it just gives it a really nice texture. So again, I'm now coming back in with the putty rubber. Increasing that highlight on the fold over the brim, where it comes over the top of his eyebrows. Again, right on the top part of the fold where it's folded up. And then bringing some of the highlights down on the top of his hat. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, with the soft tip, I can increase the shadow at the top of the fold. Just gives it that little bit of definition. And the same where this comes down the side. And I'm now really increasing the dark underneath the brim of his hat, of his beanie, onto his forehead, and then how this comes over to his right eye, and then down the side of his head. Increasing that shadow down the side. That's looking pretty good. So now, still using the 4B, I'm now going to quickly, using the side, I'm going to fill in a lot of the dark on his jumper, very impressionistically. Again, just indicating the line and the texture of some of those big cable patterns. Very dark around where the toggle goes in. So now I'm going to increase this. Now I'm being careful. I'm going to just bring the paper around, just so that I hold the paper and stop it from going anywhere, because I am pressing on fairly hard with this 4B pencil. And we can see we've got the shadow cast by his arm. And that comes all the way down. So now I want this darker shadow underneath his arm, going up to the left shoulder, curving round. Filling in the darker tone, coming down his left arm, and then underneath. You can just see how quickly you can actually fill this area in using the tone off the side of the pencil just by pressing on. Again, if you've got softer pencils, 8B, I do mention the 9B, that's the pencil equivalent of going up to 11 in Spinal Tap on the amplifiers. You can use those softer grades, but I quite like using a limited set of pencils. Going to sharpen this again. So I've got the big flatter edge. Again, I'm squinting my eyes so that I'm getting the tone. Again, I'm using the flat of the pencil as wide a side of the pencil as I can and pressing on to get as much tone down quickly as I can. So you've got this little highlight here on the top. We've got his arm underneath. And I'm indicating this jumper and the folds really quickly. So there we've got like this darker shadow on his right arm, and you're leaving the highlight on his chest. And as it comes across, we've got a shadow coming down here. This is lovely. And then we've got a nice darker shadow there. And then that goes up. You can fill that in a little bit. And you can see how very impressionistically we are getting a good tonal value to match what's on the drawing, on the reference, on your drawing. And again, some of the lines that you put down, again, I'm even filling this in the same way as the cabling. But I'm just trying to fill the tone in. And you can do this with a 4B. It's just fantastic. It's so soft. It just goes on in a lovely sweep of tone. And it feels amazing. And this is the thing as well when I say about using good equipment. The zombie pencil just felt horrible. So I'm going to sharpen this again. Now all of a sudden that's really come together very quickly. I hope you've just, I mean that is fantastic. So again, oh, you just felt at the end just playing off. And I'm just building up layers of this tone as quickly as I can, just being vibrant with my strokes of the pencil. Again, this is another reason why I decided to do this kind of half body image of Jay rather than just a face, because it's a challenge to do something different. And this big jumper and all of these folds, you've still got to give the real impression that there's a real body with arms and muscles of structure underneath. And so I'm now building up that dark again, coming round. I'm just squinting my eyes, and you can see there's a nice darker shadow there. And that top part of his shoulder there, and then that comes down, that shadow underneath at the top, and then darker again in that corner, and then right underneath. And I'm not going to smudge, because we smudged that mid-tone in earlier. This just works really well. So again, I'm now sharpening the pencil a little bit. I'm using, just wobbling it again to indicate that cabling. And because we've got some of the bare paper showing through, well, there's not much bare paper, it's pretty much covered in graphite, but because we've got lighter tones showing through, you can see there we've now got that cabling. It just looks really nice. And you're indicating impressionistically the pattern of the knitting and the cabling in the jumper. Again, much darker there. That comes over. We've got a kind of nice crease there, the fold. Now we need to do the cabling coming across the bottom. Just going to sharpen the pencil again. Not much left of this one, but we should be able to finish the drawing with it all. So now I am carrying on, adding, oh, there goes the tip again, ping. Just very quickly this fantastically thick cabling, and you can see the the paper wobbling as it goes. It's just phenomenal. Just the joy that you get. Oops, that was a bit of a sharp line. Again, we can just soften that off. So here at the top we want some kind of following the shape coming over the top, the folds in the jumper. And it goes really dark up by his hand on this cuff. And you can see here we've got the lines just coming around his arm, and then they go up that way. I mean, this is as loose a cross hatching as you're going to get. I'm just wiggling these lines down. to indicate those bobbles. And then they go right the way up. And again, the ones on his collar going right the way up to the top. Soft right to the edge. Again, I'm just doing this totally freeform with my arm not resting on anything. Indicating the cabling up the front of his chest. Now we want to do it horizontally. So I'm just wiggling it over. Again, just following the kind of patterning in the creases. And it just indicates that fantastic texture. So now we've done horizontal, we've done that diagonal way, and now I'm just going to finish off just wiggling all the way down. Kind of this way, because you can just see how the patterns are working on the arm. Now we've got this final, much darker set underneath his left arm, coming around the side of his back. And that goes there. That's looking pretty good. Here we've got, again, just some darker creases on the front. I'm just increasing the shadows. These are final bits now. This is just great fun. I'm going to sharpen the pencil again. So I've got a sharp tip, and this is the 4B, and we can really crisp up the edge of the patch for the Through Dark logo on the left arm. Again, as that comes down, but it's not like a dead straight line, I'm just wiggling it a little bit. And then making it dark. It's a bit like a drop shadow really on the actual logo. And these are literally final details. I'm just pulling up that highlight on his ear, and then we've got coming down the side, a little bit of reflected highlight there, going up underneath the hat. Crease lines under his eye, on his highlights on his eyebrow. And these are just fun little dabs that you're just adding to your discretion. Like I say, I'm just looking, thinking, yep, a couple of little dabs there, lift the pencil off there, soften that bit up there. And this is where and again, I'm using the paper, resting my hand, just being very careful. Highlight right up in that corner. Reflected highlight right underneath there. The same on this side on his top eyelid. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to fill that area in. So now we've got the tone on his hand, and here I've completely obliterated it right in the corner. Now that's going to be interesting. So I'm just dabbing that hand off here right in the corner. we've gone right the way over when I was shading in, just excitedly shading. So I'm now pulling off as much as I can with the putty rubber, and coming back in with the 4B pencil. And filling in the little bit that we pulled off. You can just about see it. What I'm going to do is, I have a very small eraser in the top of this pencil. Now I was actually looking, and if you check out the graphite pencils introduction video, I show that I actually have a Derwent electric eraser, but I just cannot find the actual replacement eraser rubber bits to go in the end of it, so I've ordered some more. They should be coming soon, and I would have used that because it would have rubbed, but that, you can see I've now got that highlight there, and I've just got that back. Now it's not pure pristine clean paper because I've really pushed the graphite into the paper, but it got enough out to indicate his little part of his left hand that's up in the corner. That's really, really nice. I have so enjoyed. That's lovely. That is absolutely lovely. And so again, the paper's just moving because I've given it so much aggro. But that is so, so nice. So now we just need to sign it. So hang on, I'm going to sharpen the pencil. This is back with the 2B. I'm not going to sign it yet actually. I'm just going to come back in because we've got sharpen the 2B pencil. And this is the thing with art, you can faff about for ages. It's brilliant. It's so, so rewarding. I hope you've had fun with this because I've had an absolute blast. Again, I'm just adding some little details. Just a little bit of extra shadow on his cheek. There, going over. And this is the 2B pencil. Creases underneath his eye. Again, now on underneath his right eye. That crease goes up. Oh, and that's a nice highlight that we just need to pull in up that corner. And the same there. And then there's a little point coming into the top of that eyebrow. And these are things, these are just little details that you can just pick up on at the end, but you can just keep going as long as you want. A crease in between his nose, there's just two little lines coming down, and then increase the shadow at the bottom of his nose on the left hand side. That's absolutely fantastic. I really do hope you've enjoyed this because I've had a great time, and that is pretty much it. So now I'm just going to sign it. And there is my drawing of the DS from SAS Who Dares Wins, who was the mole, J. Morton. I hope you liked the little mole cartoon at the beginning as well. That was just for a little bit of fun. But that was a half-body portrait. And again, It's just a question of using simple shapes. So please do like and subscribe. We've got one more DS to do. That's Ant Middleton. But thank you so much. I'll see you in the next drawing lesson. Take care. Ta-da.